Tea Party Patriots, El Dorado Hills, and the inscription reads, because I can't read that print, it says to Congressman Tom McClintock, thank you for your tireless support of the El Dorado Hills Tea Party Patriots. Your unwavering commitment to uphold the U.S. Constitution is an inspiration to all. And truly matters.
Tea Party Patriots of El Dorado Hills, they're an inspiration to me. And to my colleagues in the House, it has been through the Tea Party that the American people have stood up for those ageless principles of individual liberty, constitutionally limited government, personal responsibility that literally built the most prosperous and successful republic in the history of the world. That spirit's not been lost. It's all around us here tonight. And whatever happens as the results unfold, we can take that consolation with us, that the American spirit is not dead, even if at the moment it seems to be somewhat eclipsed by these numbers. Let me begin, though, by introducing my wife, Lori. You all know her. She has put up with me for exactly 25 years as of tomorrow. I don't understand it either, but there it is. And my mom, who is today celebrating her 82nd birthday. And our daughter Shannon and our son Justin, of whom we are very proud. You all know Igor Berman, my chief of staff. I don't have to introduce him around anymore. All I have to say is you all know Igor. Oh yeah, he's here tonight. You all know Captain Rocky Dio, recently the commander of the USS Constellation, more recently commander of the district that has spread from El Dorado County all the way north of Oregon, and now spreads from Lake Tahoe all the way along the mountains to Yosemite Valley. We are in very, very good hands. His whole team. Tony Gonzalez, I saw him on earlier tonight, and one of the youngest of our Republican division. Bill George, our press secretary, was Bill. Someplace, our field representative. Who heads up all of our casework division, and Joel Scott, who is very able assistant in that regard, and everybody with a close encounter with the federal bureaucracy. And believe me, that is a large and growing list. Come to Danielle and Joel for helping get it, and Kathy Marks, our office manager. And finally, John Huey, who is not only my campaign manager and campaign consultant, he's also the director of volunteers, our finance director, and every other position we currently have in the campaign operation. And the results in part matter because of his hard work over these past, many years. And you can see the way the Republican message resonates when you see what's happened in the 4th Congressional District over the last several elections. Many of you were with me on election night 2008. This was a razor-thin election. It was one of the closest in the entire country. It wasn't ultimately decided until 3 weeks after the polls had closed. 1/2 of 1% of the vote just 1,800 vote margin. I spent the next 2 years with a lot of able assistance from the people that I've introduced and from all of you as well. Simply preaching the Republican gospel up and down this district, which is really American founding principles. And in the next election, we won not by a half point, but by 30 points. We won not by 1,800 votes, but by 90,000 votes. And I don't want to count a lot of chickens before they're hatched quite yet, but John informed me a few minutes ago that the present trend continues. We're going to see a similar landslide in the 4th Congressional District. And I just want to thank the people of the 4th Congressional District of California for the overwhelming endorsement that they've given me to continue to champion these founding principles of our nation in Washington, D.C. We know these principles resonate. We've seen it across the district, and we know these principles work because every time our country has honored and abided by these principles, we have known periods of unprecedented prosperity and influence around the world. And every time that we have drifted from these principles, we have known nothing but sorrow and misery. And I want you to know that I will continue to press the case on behalf of the people of this district in our nation's capital with everything that I have. I remind you John Adams' words when they first unveiled those founding principles were in the debate on July 4, 1776. He says, "All that I have and all that I am and all that I hope in this life, I am now ready here to stake upon this declaration." I feel the same way. I know every single one of you feels the same way. Unfortunately, the trend continues, and I noticed that Karl Rove is still disputing the Ohio projection, so we may still have some surprises tonight. But if the trend continues, it appears that the nation will have voted for a different course for the next 4 years. It will have voted to continue on the path that it has been on, albeit it will have voted that way very, very narrowly. That ought to give us great pause, but also great hope for the future that our message is getting out, although slowly, slower than we would have liked. I wish that I could honestly tell you that I see better days immediately ahead. If the trend continues, I cannot honestly tell you that, but I can tell you as night follows day that those better days are ahead of us, just not as close as we would have liked. In moments like this, I'm reminded of the travail that George Washington went through during that terrible winter of 1776, the long, miserable retreat from New York, along with his troops who were retreating in the snow. Remember the stories of the bloody footprints in the snow. One fellow observed all that. His name was Thomas Paine. And one night he sat down and wrote this message to his fellow countrymen, which I think is a comfort in times of great trial and also a promise that there are better days ahead. He said, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier, the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny like hell is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly, is dearness only. It gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods. And it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. We do have that consolation. We do know that ultimately we will prevail. We're on that path. American people decided to go a few more years down the path that's been charted by this administration. We all know where that leads. But look at it this way, in the grand sweep of human history, 4 more years is not that long a time. I'm reminded of Groundhog Day. And you know the story, if the groundhog sees the shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. Well, I'm afraid we may be in Groundhog Day tonight, and that we're going to face 4 more years of winter to get through it. But at the end of that ordeal, I believe that we will restore these founding principles of the nation once and for all. If the policies of this administration are allowed to continue another 4 years, the Democrats may be celebrating victory tonight, but I believe that it will be the last presidential victory that they will be celebrating in our lifetimes. Let's all work for that day and not lose faith in our country or our fellow citizens. The institutions of this nation are sound. The structure of our nation, its Constitution, are the most brilliant construction of a free nation for a free people. Our heritage is freedom. Our birthright is freedom. And by God, we are not going to let that go in our time or in our generation.
That's right.
So let's go home. Let us go home tonight firmly resolved to continue the struggle for the founding principles of our nation. And ultimately we will prevail because we have to prevail. Thank you all. Thank you.